Why did it take so long to issue an Amber Alert in last week's abduction case in Augusta County? Chris Graham here for Augusta Free Press. So the story, you may be familiar with the details if you're one of our local readers. Three children were abducted by their estranged mother from a bus stop in Augusta County at 7:40 a.m. on the morning of December 5th. We're talking about a week ago Thursday. It will be 47 minutes until the abduction was reported to the Augusta County Sheriff's Office at 8:27 a.m. Presumably, the kids were abducted at the bus stop, but it wasn't noticed until the bus got to school. It took until 10:57 a.m. for the sheriff's office in Augusta County to share the information about the abduction with the general public. So 2.5 hours literally from the time that the report came in later. So 2.5 hours before the general public was notified. But by that point, well, we'll talk about this in a second. It'll be nearly 3 more hours at 1:46 p.m. before Virginia State Police would issue an Amber Alert related to the abduction. So that's 6 hours and 6 minutes after the kids were abducted, and 5 hours and 19 minutes after the sheriff's office was first notified that the kids had been abducted at that point. And for obvious reasons, the sheriff's office and Virginia State Police are taking heat over this now. It's to a point where the sheriff here in Augusta County, Donald Smith, issued a press release last night, as I'm recording this Tuesday night, because I'm recording on Wednesday. In the first quote, since this incident, the Augusta County Sheriff's Office has received numerous inquiries regarding the delay in the issuance of the Amber Alert. And Smith says it's important to clarify that the Amber Alert system is a collaborative effort between local law enforcement agencies across the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Virginia State Police, and federal law enforcement agencies. The state police is ultimately responsible for issuing the alert once the required information is received. So that's our sheriff passing the buck. I mean, he's just, basically, hey, leave me alone. I didn't do it, which is part of the problem. He didn't do it. Uh, 2.5 hours delay just getting the information out to the general public in the first place. How about that part? Virginia State Police has yet to weigh in on the delays in getting information out on the case. So all we have right now is the acknowledgement from the sheriff that he knows something was done wrong. So by the time the Amber Alert was finally issued, Shanice Davison of Evergreen, Alabama, which is, oh gosh, 11 hours down the road from us here, and her three children, the kids who were abducted at the bus stop, they were 6 hours down the road by the time the Amber Alert was finally issued. Uh, and they would eventually be located in the Birmingham, Alabama area. So that she was heading back towards her home base. Birmingham, in fact, she was apprehended at 5:48 p.m. So that would be 10 hours after the abduction and, 9 hours and 20 minutes after the abduction was reported to the sheriff's office. She was abducted in the Birmingham area. Birmingham is 8 hours 53 minutes from Fishersville, which is where the kids were abducted from. So she was 10 hours down the road, obviously stopped once or twice to get food or gas or both. Evergreen, where Shanice Davison is from, is another 2 hours 43 minutes south. So she was heading down that way. Now, let's just say it for what needs to be said. Authorities are fortunate that she was apparently headed back to her home base after abducting her children, and that a number of other things, any of a number of other things didn't happen. I mean, she could have been involved in a car accident. As certainly there was a brief pursuit before she was apprehended in the Birmingham area. That could have led to something dramatic. Thank God that she didn't have, uh, murderous intent, let's just say. Apparently, you've seen situations like this in custody battles where a parent will say basically, if I can't have them, nobody can have them. Thank God that didn't happen. Okay, so as it is, we see the limitations in the information ecosystem when it comes to child abductions. The system only works if the people in charge of it do what they're supposed to do in a timely manner. Smith, in his news release, he hides behind the declaration that, quote, before an Amber Alert can be used, law enforcement must gather specific and detailed information about the case and relate to state police. This process ensures, Smith said, that the information shared with the public is accurate and actionable. So to that end, we're aware that the sheriff's office made its first request for an Amber Alert to state police at 10:18 a.m., nearly 2 hours after getting the report of the abduction. Um, and so, okay. She was still in the state of Virginia. Davison was the mother who had abducted her kid. She was still in the state of Virginia at this point in time. I mean, now we know that she would have headed down 81 to head back towards Alabama. 2 hours away at 10:18 p.m. She's somewhere between Roanoke and Bristol, and she's near Roanoke. I mean, she's just beyond Roanoke in 2 hours from here. Um, Smith in the release noted that, quote, while the Amber Alert in this case was delayed, interagency cooperation between the county sheriff's office, the Virginia State Police, Alabama authorities, and federal law enforcement was initiated immediately and without hesitation to ensure the safety of the children. So, what he's saying there is this interesting. He's saying that they reached out to Alabama authorities, and okay, they knew where they at least they presumed where they knew she was going. Why did it take her getting all the way to Alabama before they could find her? If they had a strong suspicion she was heading back home, she went all the way to Birmingham. Okay. Um, the sheriff said in his release that the sheriff's office is working closely with Virginia State Police to investigate the cause of the delay, provide feedback, and implement improvements to the process to ensure such issues do not occur in the future. I mean, yeah, that's all we can do at this point. They screwed up, and then we need to figure out why and make sure it doesn't happen again because they got lucky this time. They might not get lucky the next time.